Welcome to part 3 of this module where we will be seeing how to build some complex measures, and we will also see the example of the usage of filter functions and calculate functions. We will also have a quick look at how do we create some columns with let's say with the DAX. So all these things we have seen the table. We have seen to some extent how to create the columns, and now we will see the complex functions as well. So, and then there will be an activity that we will be doing based on these measures, how to build up a dial gauge actually. So all these things coming up, and this will be completely demo based session. And let's begin the show. So majorly this will be all based on practical examples, and at any point of time you need any kind of help or something, so please reach out to the team. So welcome to this module 5 part 3. Post this we will be talking about the visualizations and all. So let's have a quick look at whatever we are doing at the moment with the same ERP data. So here what we do is, first of all, we will learn how to work with filters, and also we will learn how to make the dial gauge. So these are the two major objectives, and also we will be seeing how to create the functions within the table as well. So those things we will be seeing. So the first task would be how to use a filter. So suppose right now we have seen total revenue. So what I can do is, this is just my section for testing all my DAX or whatever I am making over here. So what I do is, I have this option called card. So I take this card. So I take a card visual, I take a new card visual, and then what I do is, I have an option, I can just take this total revenue. So I can just get the total revenue. So it says 207.31. Let's take an example that I want revenue only for a particular section. Suppose I'll just give you an example. If I just go to the products table, so suppose we have products table. So let's say there is a product called chai. So I want to see the revenue for chai or the revenue for tofu, something like this. So what you can do is, you can immediately go to this option and measure and say new measure. Watch this step very carefully. So what I am doing over here is, I am saying chai revenue. Now the problem is, when we stated revenue directly, total revenue, when we stated, we simply say sum. But when we have to bifurcate that revenue into different chunks, we cannot just simply say sum or calculate or compute or something like this. We need to use a function, special function called calculate. We will see how do we use it. So to write any kind of DAX, we prefer to use this expand option, so that it gives me a complete understanding of what we are designing over here. And then what we do is, we press the shift key and enter key to go to the next line. And then we use the function called calculate. So calculate takes majorly, the first parameter is the mandatory, which is the expression, but calculate is mandatory. In the last example, we did not take calculate and it was working absolutely fine. But in this example, since we have to filter down to a particular product, that's why we require the expression along with the filter as well. So we say that, okay, calculate, and now we already have total revenue, so I don't need to calculate that revenue once again. I don't have to say sum of revenue. That is not required over here. And then what we do is, we use filter, and we say that for filter we go for the product. So now you can see that the measure that we are making right now is a complex measure, and it is taking help of two different tables. One is the orders table from where revenue is coming, and another is the products table from where the product is coming. So we say that dim products, and then we calculate an expression. So we say that simply product name is equal to chai, or we can say product ID is equal to also. It's up to you how you want it. Usually what we do is we will put it in a different line, put this in a different line, and then allow this to come down, and then what we do is we go back and then allocate this. So this becomes your actual measure. I can just put it into this session notes, sample complex DAX, something like this. So this is for your reference. Anyway, these all files will be with you at any point of time. You can go through this. You remove this expansion, and then what you need to do is you can just either press enter or click on this tick mark, and it should accept this, and it now says chai revenue. Ideally speaking, when we are declaring this total revenue, there also we should have written it under calculate. So ideally, this is how it should have been written. This is the total revenue, right? So total revenue stands like this. You can press enter also, it should work, and the same number should be coming. Okay. So ideally you should have, so if you talk about complex, this is not complex DAX, this is a simple one. The next one where you are using a filter, maybe a complex one. So now what we do is we just wanted to test the numbers, right? That's why we have brought this section. So now what we do is we say Control C, Control V, and then what we do is we bring in the chai revenue. So you can see chai revenue coming in over here. Now what happens is, most of the cases we can say that the data that we are heading towards might or might not be the right way to work. So over here we are seeing it as chai revenue. So suppose now I'm confident I can just go to a new measure, and now I can say, so suppose now this is a categorical revenue. This is not chai revenue, I say beverage revenue. So suppose if I may just go here and say beverages revenue, right? And we can use the same option. We can say calculate, and then what we can say total revenue, and say filter, and under filter what we can do is we can simply go to categories, and then we can say category name is equal to beverages. Very, very simple understanding. So let's see how this works. Something like this. So now we have chai as well, and we have beverages as well. And now if I just So now if I just say Control C, Control V and bring it over here, I should be able to get the beverages revenue. So chai revenue and beverages revenue like this. Total, so chai, so how do we position it? So we first position the total revenue, then we have the beverages revenue, and then we definitely have the chai revenue like this. So now the next section is like, I wanted to, so now you can see there are almost different types of measures that we have created. So we will create back to back some measures, and we will fill this measures container with different types of measures, complex measures, simple measures we will be creating. So now we have total revenue. So similarly what we can do is, so there's a nomenclature that we are following over here. So you can see over here, I'm saying total, let's say products. So how many products we have. So here also we will be using calculate, but here we are not going to use sum because I'm talking about how many. So what we can do is we can simply say count, and then we say product ID, calculate, and it works. So now what we do is we simply copy paste this and we bring in the total products, and it works. Similarly, we can have total customers, and then what we will do, we will say same calculate, count, and then we can say over here customer ID. So you can see that all the totals remain in one place over here. So total customers. Similarly, we can have, the other factors also. So what we can do is we can get onto the next one. So we say new measure. So total customers, total products, total revenue. Similarly, we can say total orders. So we might or might not be using all of them during our this particular course, but at least you will get to understand that, okay, how these components work. So you can see total orders, total customers, total orders. So total orders. So now you are going towards making up that story part, what we are referring to. Now apart from this, so this is one DAXing part. So maybe we can create another DAXing part, or we can use this for our purposes as well. So so this is one sheet. What we can do is we can create another sheet to see some other, I'm talking from the perspective of testing these measures. So we have tested some of these measures. So now what we will do is we are going to this option, and we say that we create another one. So this is new DAXing, something like this. And here what we do is we create some other components. Let's take an example. We just go here and say measure, and this one we are creating it from the perspective of the products. So we say average price. So average price. So we can calculate something like this, average of unit price. So unit price is a column in products. So unit price, we have seen stock, we have seen all these things. So we press enter, and we can see average price sitting at the top. So if I may just go to the products table now, so you can see we have the unit price, and there is something called units in stock as well. So both the things. So usually what happens is, I'll just give you a business understanding of this. So price and stock, they go hand in hand. So if you must have seen, if I just talk about a furnishing store, let's say, a furnishing store will have items like doormats also, and a furnishing store will have items like sofa, or a bed or a mattress also. So do you think that the number of mattress that is there in their inventory is equivalent to the number of sofas or the mattresses that they have? No. So higher the price, the lower is the stock that they keep. Usually, that's the case. It doesn't fit in all senses. I mean, more or less, you might say jewelry shop. So jewelry shop also the same thing. So small items like let's say the earrings or the nose rings or rings, finger rings, the inventory of that is definitely not the same as that of a necklace or a proper kind of mainly necklace or any crown or something like this, right? So it will not be the same. So inventories will be different. So again, if you talk from the perspective of items like silver, so silver items, gold items and diamond items, right? So there will be a variation. So price and stock has some relation. So here also, let's say this is also an organization which is into delivery of products. It takes delivery from one place and then sends it to other customers or something. So here also price and stock needs to go hand in hand. So we created average price. What we are now going to do is we will create another measure and we will call it as, let's say, average stock. And then here we will see calculate and so units in stock. So we say simply calculate average units in stock. So now what we will do is we will just bring this average price. It works like this. And similarly, what we will do is we will bring in the average stock. So average price and average stock. Now, as I explained that both of them have some relation. So here also you can see that it has got some relation. Now what we will do is we will try to explore this in the sense we say that, okay, let's do an activity wherein we will be creating a dial gauge out of these two numbers. So let's say this 28.87, which is the average price and stock, both of them are clear numbers. So what we are going to do over here is we create another measure, the third measure, which is, let's say, we call it as price to stock ratio. Now this time this is no calculate, nothing is required because both the measures are already there. So price and stock we need to divide. So we simply use the function called divide and it asks for numerator denominator. So my numerator is the price, the average price, and the denominator is the average stock. We divide this, we press enter, and we try to bring this over here. So we see that there's a number which is 0.71. Now 0.71 is definitely a ratio, but usually what happens is whenever we are talking about this kind of ratios, we need to be careful. So what we need to do is we say that always work with percentages over here. So here we can see it is like it should be percentage. So percentages we need to refer to over here. So percentages, usually what happens is, suppose if I want to convert it into a percentage, you will start searching that, okay, where is my percentage? Why I am not seeing the thing? When you go to home and modeling and everywhere, you will not see it. So this is a tip that you need to keep in mind. Whenever you want to format any measure, you need to click on the measure and not the visual. Remember, this is the visual. This is just a representation of the measure. So you need to click on the actual measure, and then immediately you will see the measure tools, and you will find that there are formats also. So you can just switch on to the percentage format, and you will be able to see the percentage format like this. Now this percentage format looks good when you convert it into a dial gauge. So it's something comes like this. So you can see both these numbers are now divided and we are getting the percentage. Now what happens, the story is not complete. So what happens is, like, we now see that the percentage is there. So we have to build up a story around it. The story is like 71.26, whether it is good or bad, we don't know. So what we need to do is we need to add another measure to counter this, saying that whether it is good or bad. So what we do is we go to another measure and we say new measure, and that will be the static measure. So we can call it as, let's say, something like this, target, and we simply say 0.8 means 80%, let's say. So the target is 80%. So we bring in the target, and then what we do is we click on this. I mean, this is just one of the odd cases that we are referring to. There are many such cases which can be used and seen using the DAX functionalities and all the power thing that we are making. And here what we do is we just click on this option and say target value, and it brings in the target value over here. So we are looking into this target value. So now this is a complete measure that we are looking at. We take this. So now what happens is, this is like the overall. So suppose if you want to slice and dice this based on this particular data, so what we need to do is we bring in the slicer. So now we are introducing the slicer to this particular data, and we say that I do have categories. So I bring in the category name into the field to see this data, and you can see that if you click, it works, and if you don't click anywhere, it will still be fine. So now if you, I mean, this is a kind of a visual that usually we keep it, but this visual is like just showing you check boxes like this, but you need to just create it visually appealing. So what you can do is we can just go to this, click on this option or this particular slicer, and then go to this option called format, and from format you will see there is an option which says general, and under general you will see something called horizontal, and automatically this converts it into something called a chiclet format. So chiclet format, you can just bring it like this, and like this you can just bring in, and now you can click on beverages, confections, beverages, like this, and it goes. Okay, so this is one side of this visuals that we are making over here. So we can select them and then we can place it as per our requirement. The next kind of, operations that we are going to make over here is related to the date and time. So date and time, we have seen how to build up the columns, but here we will see how to build up the measures related to date and time. So we can see that measures are already there, and we create another one for this purposes. So what we do is, so actually speaking, we would require these. So suppose I would require this total revenue, I would require the beverages revenue, and I would require the chai revenue. So I take them and I paste them over here. So first of all, let it be something like this. right, like this, and we have the beverage revenue and we have the chai revenue. Now what we do is we bring in another slicer over here, but this time the slicer will not be a component like category or something. It will be the date that we have. So we bring in the dim date and we bring in the cal date over here as the field. Immediately you will see that the moment you bring in date, it automatically brings up a slider in our case that we can see over here. So slider comes, and then if you just change this, you will see it changes over here, but it doesn't change over here because this is related to product. Product has nothing to do with the date. So we have to understand whatever we are doing over here, right, will impact this data. Now fundamentally what we want is, there are certain cases where we don't want to see the entire data, but we wanted to work on the intelligence functions actually. So we can see time intelligence functions. So we have something like the next day, end of the year, and MTD, YTD, QTD, and all these things are there. So we will see some of the examples related to time intelligence functions, and how do we replace the numeric columns with the measures, that also we are going to see. So this will also have an impact on the semi-additive measures that we are making in terms of subtotals and totals and other things also. So we will learn these things in our example. So now let's understand this details in when we see the lineage of the DAX also during this particular demo as well. So now what we do is we create a simple measure which will talk about the MTD figures. So the MTD, QTD, YTD, so these all figures we will be creating now. So we build up this space and we say revenue MTD. So you can see that total revenue is already there. So all the totals are in one place, all the averages are in one place, something like this, right? So now we are saying revenue MTD. Revenue MTD, we don't have to give any calculate or something. We can just use the function called total MTD, and then it will say what I want to slice. I will say total revenue, and then it says based on what, where is your date, so that you want to filter on. So I say that my date always is there with the cal date. So we go to cal date and we simply close this bracket and we press enter. So revenue MTD has been formed. Ideally this particular bracket should come over here. So now if you just go to this particular option and I just want revenue MTD. So there is something very interesting that is coming up. So revenue MTD, I bring in over here, and okay, so let me just see. We have got the date, we have got the revenue, so the total revenue based on the cal date. So let me just see whether my cal date is connected. So the revenue is there, cal date is also there. Okay. So anyways, let's create the other ones also, and then we will focus, and then we'll see where is the issue, how do we mitigate that. So here what we do is we bring in revenue YTD, let's say, and we say total YTD, and then what we do is we take the total revenue and then we say date, which is the cal date. Revenue YTD. So you can see that it has brought in the revenue YTD. So we will talk about the MTD in a short while. So what is the issue? We will just check that. And the next one is the QTD. So what we will do is we will same go to QTD. Okay, so that's the reason. We will just see it in a short while now. So we say revenue QTD. So debugging this is also a very important part of the entire module structure plan that you make. So revenue QTD, and we say total QTD, and we say total revenue, and then we say I need the cal date. So three of the dates are here, and we bring in the total QTD. Also it comes. MTD I would discuss why it is not coming in a short while. And then what we will do is we will finally would like to bring up, so this is anyway taken care of, this is anyway taken care of. We would like to bring in another part in the middle over here, and we will call it as revenue PY. PY means previous year. And here what we will do, so we will be using the regular calculate function, and we will be taking the total revenue. But here what we will do is we will not take a regular filter, we will take something like this, same period last year, and then it is asking for date, and then we will say cal date. So we will just put it inside the calculate function. Total revenue, same period last year. And then we use this, and then you can see that it has given me same period last year value also, revenue PY. So what we are doing is we are testing all these factors. Now everything looks fine except the MTD, and I'll tell you what is the reason, and the logic should be clear over here. So what has happened in MTD, why it is coming in YTD and why it is coming in QTD, not in MTD. So remember, when we were working with the calendar formation, we had a start date and an end date. And end date, what we did, we increased it by 30 days. When you increase it by 30 days, and when we are talking about the year 1998, so it has already gone to, from the June month, it has gone to the July month, the next month actually. So it was actually supposed to be May month, and now it has gone to June month, the next month. That's where the problem has cropped up. So see, always remember, when you talk about the TD, means to date, I'm not talking about the from date. So we are always talking about the TD or the to date. So to date, we need to be careful whenever we are selecting this. So anyways, when you just drag this even if you just drag this, you will see that when you decrease the to date, automatically you will see that the MTD is in place, let's say. So let's understand that when you go to, why it is coming. So just to be on a safer side, what we will do is we will not touch the end date over here. So let's take an example. We are in April right now. So April 1998, 10th of April. So when you say April, so your MTD and QTD, because January, February, March and April, May, June comes in one quarter. So that's why QTD and MTD are same over here. But then the moment you go to May month, so instead of April, you take it to May month and then see what happens. So it says that the MTD is just only $310 or whatever denominations you talk about, units you talk about. So this is MTD of what? It is MTD of May month. But then QTD belongs to the entire quarter, April, May, June. So it is taking up the entire data from April to May, something like this, right? So TD is the most important part over here. Now I wanted to prove this, how this works actually. So let's take an example from the total revenue part. So if I just take this first date from 1996 to 1998, so if I just go to 1998, let me just bring it over here. So if I just go to the 1st of January 1998, so you should see that the total revenue and the revenue YTD matches. So which means that YTD always takes from the 1st of the day of the year, irrespective of wherever you are placed. So it will take from the 1st to the to date, end date, whatever you have given. Same goes with QTD also. If I just move it from the 1st and I go from January, I go to April and say 1st of April. Now you see what happens. You select 1st of April. So you will see the QTD value matches over here. So which means that it is in the same order. Now this is M. So this is 3rd of May, and then what I do is instead of April, I take it to May and I say 1st of May. You will see that both of them are of same value. There are certain other things also we can notice over here. So you can see that in the month of May, during these 3 days, there was no sale of chai, and that's why chai is blank over here. So these are some of the factors, these are some of the features that you can hover around and then test it, right? So this is the functionality of how measures can work. So in the process, we have made almost around 10 to 15 measures. We will continue making this if required in our visualization section also. But as of now, we have created these measures and it will be working absolutely fine when it goes to the visualization section for the next module. Now to end this particular module, what we need to do is there is one more thing that is required over here, that is going to the products menu and then creating some columns over here. So how do we? So we have seen tables, we have seen measures, we have seen some part of creating columns as well. But here what we will do is extensively we will watch that. So suppose I have price, stock, and I have a discontinued column over here which says, just say true means this is discontinued. Similarly, I want to create another column for stock, unit stock. I say that available or not, a product is available or not. How will you create that? If the units in stock is greater than 0, so then the stock is there, it's available. So now I don't require a measure, I would require a column. So I go to new column and then what I say, available. And then what I do is I simply use the function if, and I say if units in stock is greater than 0, then you just call it as true. That's it. So it will be very simple to understand. So now you can see that if it is more than 0, so if it is 0, then it is showing as false. Now let me relate it with a real world example. So if you click on discontinued and say discontinued false, discontinued true means that, that product has been, it has been ordered not to sell. So discontinued, and you say okay. And now you see something very amazing. So just because you created one column, you have so much of idea now. So now you can see the product is discontinued, but it is still available. So you can see that there are some products. So if I just say true and true, so there are some products which are still available though they are discontinued. So you can see these products are still available, and you can see that they are highly, some of them are highly priced also, and we have a good amount of stock in our order, in our warehouse, and there are no orders for this, right? So these kind of information you can get by using DAX, DAX in the best format that we have seen over here. Clear all filters, and we come over here. So this was the complete lesson on DAX, DAXing, what we call it, and extensively we have talked about how DAX works and what are the parameters, flows, and how do we check the lineage of the DAX, and date related, time related, all these things we have seen. So if you have multiple fact tables, then that also we can create models into. So suppose if you have this fact table, suppose right now we do not have a second fact table, we will create a fact table, and then we will see that how the fact tables can also be interrelated using the DAX functions or the functionalities of Power BI. So the calendar dimension we have already built in this particular activity. So we are just reviewing that. So entire calendar dimension is made. And so just to summarize this entire session. So here we have talked about end-to-end of DAX. So what is DAX? How DAX forms a layer on top of your data. How you define the lineage of data using DAX. What is data modeling? So after preparation of data, what is the fundamental task that you need to achieve and derive in terms of building up this entire module or model for visualization. So we have not gone to the visualization part. So the next section will be dedicated to visualization actually. So wherein we will see different types of visualization. But here what you are seeing is absolutely the case wherein the data is being churned from a particular store or a data set, and then you build up the layers on top of it to make the data ready for visualization. So that's the task that we have taken in this particular module. So we will continue this journey. So the module 5 has ended, but we will continue this journey for all the visualization techniques to discover the data in different patterns. So all these things we are going to see in module number 6. So thank you so much for having a view and paying attention to this. So the modeling part is done. So now we will move to the visualization part in module number 6. Thank you. Thank you so much.